Everybody, welcome back. You don't even need to watch the episode. I don't lose on quarantine. Let's not get too cocky. Let's see how much HP we got. 2 HP. Stats are good. Curse of the Blind, Anarchist Cookbook. I would rate this out from 1 to 5 chili peppers. 1 being a cheese sandwich. And 5 being the bomb hot sauce from Hot Ones. This is a 3. Is spicy enough to be interesting. That's for sure. And I mean, to be honest, the 5s are fun to watch. Not always so much fun to be a part of. I have definitely 100% of my life never consumed anything that spicy. But I've created a few things that spicy in the Binding of Isaac Afterbirth Plus series. I do want to say right off the bat here, might sound a little hoarse. In today's uncertain times, I do feel compelled to let you know it is a lack of sleep. It is not a dry cough and other symptoms that might have some coincidence with the certain infection going around right now. We will not take that. I mean, I don't want to get into it too much, but we were woken up real early this morning for like a family thing. It was like one of those, again, without being too specific, it was urgent but not dire, if that makes sense. Just one of those things where you get woken up early, and it hits you at exactly the right moment, where you're like, well, I definitely cannot go back to sleep. However, I am very tired. So I got up at and I know, oh, poor baby, but I woke up at 6:30 this morning. Normally I'm like a 9 a.m. sort of guy, and it was kind of a fitful sleep in advance of that as well. I'm not complaining though. I'm saying that in solidarity for those of you, surely, you know, with the amount of people that are watching these videos, there's people out there that are in the same boat right now. You know, this video comes out at 6 a.m. Pacific time every single day. Probably some people expected, hey, I'm gonna watch it on my lunch break or something. And all of a sudden, they're watching it as it comes out. Consider this our moment of solidarity with one another. But a little... Okay, just... Probably shouldn't have even tried, but it's okay. Just dump this and leave. This is actually very good. I mean, getting Maggie's Faith in particular is excellent for us here. So I think we got really good stats, really good trinket, and a really good shoe. Really good shoe. Ed Sullivan? Anybody? I've never seen the Ed Sullivan show, except for old clips of the Beatles. But I have seen The Simpsons, where they talk about the Ed Sullivan show and do the impression. But yeah, you know, I've had time in my life where I have not slept particularly long or particularly high quality. A lack of sleep doesn't bother me too much. You know, one day is a I don't want to say it's easy, but it's like a small hit to your quality of life, big whoop. When you get into the multiple days, it starts to wear on you, no doubt about that. But one day, I'm being the change I want to see in the world, you know? It's either sit here, play Isaac, have some anecdotes, maybe the lack of sleep will induce a little bit of zanity. You never know, sometimes just being thrown off your homeostatic equilibrium like that is the kind of thing you need to mix things up. Although, I don't know why I would want to mix things up in Isaac right now. It's going relatively well. Probably getting... we might actually be at our second best streak ever, which is amazing when you consider the length of time that we've been playing this game. Originally, if you were, you know, you'd probably sleep, right? If you were watching Sports Center and they were like, you know, the Washington Wizards have their second longest winning streak ever, you would be like, second longest? I don't even get out of bed for that. But if they were like, the New York Yankees have their second longest winning streak ever, you would be like, what? They've been around for 150 years. I don't know, maybe we would have been better off with Game Kid there, but I just, little chest, I don't even really know what it does, but I feel like it gives us more consumables over time, which I think is more valuable than Game Kid. When our HP is good, let's just hope our HP stays good. Oh, does it give us, it might give us trinkets occasionally. Look at that. Just a little bit of tired has made me more observant. How strange is that? But, we're kind of the New York Yankees. And if I wanted to make myself more sympathetic, I would not have chosen the Yankees. I know the Yankees are... I mean, like any sports brand, you know, that's at that level. They have their share of lovers and haters, you know? We don't need to talk too much about baseball, mostly because I don't know so much about baseball. Everything I know about... Well, I played, like, a decade of softball, but I say that, like, in the same way every, like, suburban dad would be like, yeah, I played 10 years of baseball. I played 10 years of softball in a recreational league. I tried out for what's known as rep, which is, like, the first step on the ladder. And I really do mean the first step, you know, towards playing in, like, a decent baseball league as a teenager. And, I was politely told, your services here will not be required. And it's haunted me to this day. Apart from that, everything I know about baseball... I think we will take this because we have Maggie's faith. Everything I know about baseball, apart from that, comes from a summer where I played World Series Baseball 2003. Probably, and this is not a joke, probably upwards of 6 to 8 hours a day. You might ask why? I hate to say it. Just boredom. I actually have a story there. And again, this is a story that now looking back, I realize, you know, I was blessed to grow up with means. So I'm not trying to complain about it, but just hear me out here. And by the way, in Isaac terms, everything's going okay. Black Rune we can use in the future, hopefully for HP. The reason I felt comfortable enough rolling with Judas' Shadow here is honestly because of the fact that we have Maggie's Faith. With Maggie's Faith, HP shouldn't be a problem. Maybe we'll get a second secret room. Doesn't appear. You know what? We can check one more. We got enough bombs. But when I finished 9th grade, my parents were like, for my graduation, like every year. And again, to get a present for graduating from like grade 5 is kind of hilarious to me in hindsight. But you know, every year they were like, hey, it's summer vacation. We're gonna like buy you a video game to say thanks for not flunking out. So in 9th grade, I was like sick. You know what I want? I'm a little bit of a burgeoning snob. For the original Xbox, I'm gonna get Panzer Dragoon Orta, the new game in the Panzer Dragoon series. It got a 9.3 out of 10 from official Xbox magazine. Sounds like a masterpiece. Don't get me wrong, I bought it. Panzer Dragoon Orta, great game. Beat it in like an afternoon. And then went, what, is 5 hours long? Beat it again that same day. Came back the next day, beat it another 2 or 3 times, and was like, you know what? I need more. This is, I hate to say it, Panzer Dragoon Orta, not the game you want to play if your goal is to get maximum gameplay over the period of 1-2 month summer vacation when you're 13 years old. I appreciated it, don't get me wrong. Really, those situations, that's where, like, if League of Legends had existed when I was 13, that was the perfect use case for a game like that. So instead, I bought World Series Baseball 2003. And I had a great time. How could you not? Well, because it's baseball would probably be one of the answers. I mean, yeah, okay, look. I'm coming to bat for all the baseball fans out there. You guys get crapped on more than any professional sport, I think. Any huge professional sport, at least. And you're just expected to take it. You ask anybody how they feel about baseball, they go, baseball. Too many games is boring. You know, half the players on any given play, the vast majority of players are doing almost nothing. And that's all true. I was trying to come to your defense here. But you like what you like, right? I understand the appeal of baseball to some extent. First off, it's casual. You can watch it while you're doing something else. Something more exciting, hopefully. Okay, I'm sorry. I had to sneak one in there. I think this is a secret room right here. Never mind. 2 luck upgrades, though. Almost made the perfect dodge. And then there's also, there's like the whole Moneyball aspect of it, right? Like, it has, it's a statistically very interesting sport. I don't think Pointy Rib is quite good enough here. So I get it. It's not for me. But I definitely, I understand it. And a lot of people think hockey is boring. Which is, like, unfathomable to me, because people are delivering bone-crunching hits constantly. Number one complaint is, like, you know, I can't really follow the puck. I'm gonna be honest with you. There's a built-in, like, a hockey viewer skill you just learn. And it's the skill of inferring where the puck is based on the camera's movement and positioning. Sometimes I don't exactly know where the puck is, but you see the puck, it pans right to left. And it's moved from Troy Stetcher, number 51, to Quinn Hughes, number 43, and he's moving his stick around like a madman, and you're like, oh, snap, Quinn's got the puck. You know, sometimes when you see an NFL running back hurtling past the line of scrimmage, you don't see the ball, but you know that he's got the ball, otherwise why is everybody chasing him? You know, it's deductive reasoning. Alright, this is one of the rare times. I was just going to say, we do not want a deal with the devil. I think we don't Black Rune here. And my reasoning there is, I would love the stats, particularly rate of fire, but we definitely know we're going to want HP. Yes, we have Maggie's Faith, but the more the merrier, especially with an upcoming deal with the devil. I would much rather, and we should have the opportunity, to be clear, I would much rather find ourselves living in a shotgun shack. What is that? In another part of the world. You know that? Talking Heads? I think it's their most famous song. It was even covered by Kermit on the Muppets. Letting the days go by, let the water hold me down. Anyway, what's your favorite Talking Heads song? We talked about this on stream. If you don't know the Talking Heads, you're really missing out. I feel like that's one of the bands from, well, let's just say, you know, rock music history, where their singles do not necessarily do a great job of telling you the depth of what that band had going on. Trying to think of other examples, because I said one of those bands, you would assume that perhaps I had other examples in mind. You would be sorely mistaken. But you also can't criticize me, because I'm tired. But like once in a lifetime, great song. Don't get me wrong. The album it's on, Remain in Light, one of the best albums, one of my favorite albums of all time. At least did you know Pitchfork Media named it the second best album of the 1980s and the best album in 1982. I mean, come on, it's got Born Under Punches, Cross-Eyed and Painless, that one that goes, oh, you know that one? Anyway, it's kind of like Paul Simon's Graceland, but for the more art-rocky crowd, I should say. You know, like the Jonathan Richmans and the so-ons. Anyway, the singles are pretty good, but I'm like, Burning Down the House, Psycho Killer. I'm not sweating this. It's not great, but I'm not sweating it. Burning Down the House, Psycho Killer. Good songs. But not as good as the Talking Heads collection at large. I mean, Naive Melody, This Must Be the Place. It was another single. It was on the, of all movies, for that to be on the Wall Street soundtrack, starring Michael Douglas. Not the sequel, Wall Street Money Never Sleeps, starring Michael Douglas and Shia LaBeouf. I know you were like, when's he gonna talk about Wall Street 2, Money Never Sleeps? The oft-neglected sequel to Wall Street 1. I think, work with me here, I think you just sucked that one up. We don't know what it is, so it could have been bad. You know what's not bad? Stats. Let's roll with that then. I like the Talking Heads. I feel like if you only know the singles, you might like the Talking Heads, but you might not respect them as much as you might if you listen to some of the full albums. Anyway. You know what? Get me out of here. I want to preserve our deal with the devil chance if possible. Another band like that, and I'm going to catch some heat for this one. A lot of people don't respect the B-52s enough, in my opinion. They think they're a novelty band because of Rock Lobster and Love Shack. Now I'll tell you, those are some. No, after all that, those are some goofy songs. I'm not gonna, but just because they're slightly goofy doesn't mean they're without merit. But then on top of that, actually, you know, very well respected as progenitors of the new wave style. I'm not trying to go all Patrick Bateman on you now. Sorry, this is a little, it's not spicy. Like, the run is in a really amazing spot, honestly, but this is the kind of room where if you just don't pay attention for a second, things can start to sour on you pretty quickly, you know? Like milk where you didn't check the best before date. Now, I know, we're in... Okay, Golden Chest is good. Golden Chest... I walked on the spike. That could have been devastating. Blood Bag is amazing there, though. Thank God I paid attention early. I got a bone to pick, okay? And it's the wrong time to pick this bone, because we're in the middle of, you know, a global crisis, I think, is a non-ambiguous and not loaded term for it. What a nice room. This is a fun one. I don't know if I've mentioned this recently, but I feel like this is the kind of room where it benefits you to pay attention whenever possible. I can live with that. I know I said we wouldn't take pills, but then we got a slight cushion, so I decided, let's take some pills. I was at the grocery store yesterday. My wife needed some apples. I think I mentioned this already. I was at the grocery... Oh, I was mentioned on the NLSS, but... she had sent me to the grocery store. Here's my grocery list. Fuji apples, and she specified only the large Fuji apples. The small Fuji apples, and I'm with her on this one. It just had not crossed my mind. The small Fuji apples, juicy but not quite as sweet. You know, there's weird little signals with fruit that you can use to kind of derive which ones you like. Like when you're about to, you know, eat a pear or pick one up at the grocery store, you should always squeeze a pear. And I recognize the phrasing there could be better, but that's the beauty of the English language, I suppose. You don't want a pear that is incredibly firm to the touch. I'm really not trying to lean into this double entendre. The Bartlett pear, that's beautiful. All right, get me... You know what? Let's be the change we want to see in the world here. Give me this red heart. I don't want to go down with not full HP. Why would we? And again, I want to be very clear. We should be completely fine here. Nothing to worry about. But in order for us to make sure that there's nothing to worry about, we need to play well now so that a crisis doesn't show up later. It's like how I always tell you, you know? If you're traveling, always eat whenever you get the opportunity. You're not eating because you're hungry, which is probably the way you should think about it when you're at home, I suppose. You're eating so that you don't find yourself in a situation where you can't get food a little bit later and then, you know, get low blood sugar or grumpy or starving, etc., etc. What was I talking about? I just ate that beam, huh? I would like more HP, I'm not going to deny it, but in its own way, strength is free HP if we use it to get a deal with the devil. If we don't, then it's just a temporary boost, but I saved it for a reason. Bad start. Oh, not a bad start. I'm a little upset, and the worst part is I can only blame myself. That the bomb did not leave us an out to get out of there. So what's the solution then? We don't pick up the bomb. We don't open the... Well, no, that's not fair. We're never going to go in and be like, oh, I'm never going to open a red chest again. Don't be a fool. Anyway, I completely forgot what I was talking about. Oh, the fruit signals, of course. Just a natural topic of conversation. Immediately, I'm going to open this up again. I knew it couldn't screw us. So this is admittedly spicy, so I have a new game plan now, and our new game plan is do whatever you can to maximize your spirit hearts. So this is a great opportunity for us to go to shops and make that dream work. Of course, we would also very much like to actually get Maggie's faith working for us. Maybe this is where I should start to get a little anxious, but I'm really not, honestly. I still feel like we just picked up an item that's even better for us. We just got to be cautious. Okay, fruit signals. Very simple. An apple, you don't want any softness. You want to squeeze it and feel that firmness. A pear, in my opinion, you want a little softness. I think a pear is a misunderstood fruit. A lot of people eat pear, and they go, it tastes like sweet wood. It's just too hard. You want a pear that's slightly over-ripened, in my opinion. You like what you like, but that's what I like. Bananas, everybody knows. You want a perfectly yellow banana. A banana with even the slightest bit of green, a little too firm and starchy. You could have a banana that's a little bit on the darker side if you like a soft banana. But I will admit for me that when I taste a banana that is a little softer, and I know that's what you use for banana bread. Yo, that's huge. This is our win condition right here. But I know that's what you use for banana bread. However, simultaneously, just re-roll this. And this is a me problem. I'm willing to admit this is a me problem. You know, that softness is the start of the decomposition process. So it's not like I mean, we definitely just want to, like, go for this. It does taste better, but sometimes I'll admit I'm not weird about, like, a great deal of things. That one I'm, like, slightly weird about. Psychologically, I'm like, I don't want to eat anything that's rotting. But at the same time, I'm like, blue cheese, sign me up. Dude, I have really come to respect the power of the shop. Why would you buy the key? Oh my god, we were saved. And I think you just go right for this one right here. I've really come to respect the power and value of a shop. I think for a long time I did not. And now, we don't really need another Spirit Heart right now, but we've had so many opportunities where the run was like maybe slightly touchy. You know, and I know I've been really lambasting my past self, but it really is surprising to me how my Isaac psychology has changed here. I think, you know, 3 months ago, if I'm doing this run, what do I buy from that shop? Probably every item they have available. But realistically, what's more valuable to us? 3 Spirit Hearts or BOGO Bombs? I think my brain has just been, like, I let it get on autopilot about some things in Isaac that ended up, you know, being instinct, but they were bad instincts. Like, the more items, the merrier, yes, but 3 Spirit Hearts is like, you gotta do like a thought experiment. Like, if BOGO Bombs, that's so lucky. If BOGO Bombs and the soul both existed on the shop, I would take the soul. If you asked me why I liked the soul, I would be like, 3 Spirit Hearts, dude. Plus the other part, but mostly the 3 Spirit Hearts. And then if you put 3 Spirit Hearts in the shop, I would be like, it's not that interesting. Those are consumables. I don't buy consumables. Anyway, we're talking too much Isaac. I've been peeling a lot of oranges lately. Again, Kate, while pregnant, she loves the apples. She loves the oranges. Get me out of here. And I've come to learn some orange signals as well. I like the flavor of orange a lot. Like, not just synthetic orange. I like eating a fresh orange. And there's nothing like a fresh orange, because when you get it, like, in a fruit cocktail or something like that, mandarin oranges turn out pretty well, but, like, other oranges in a fruit salad are, like, a little acidic. Like, they lose their sweetness pretty quick. But I've learned the best kind of orange... Oh, we can fly. The best kind of orange is when you, like, squeeze it, and you can feel, like, the peel is readily separatable from the fruit itself. That makes for an orange that's easier to peel, and the easier an orange is to peel, the sweeter it is. And that's not like a metaphor. That's a literal description. Yo, I think we still want the candle. I mean, it's a slow run. Don't get me wrong. So anyway, those are my fruit signals. But anyway, what I was originally going to talk about when I hit you with the 9th for, but anyway, is I was at the grocery store, and here's my bone to pick. You know, I was talking about how it soured quickly, like milk where you didn't check the expiration date. My wife wanted bread from the grocery store. I go to the grocery store on April 8th. Look at the loaves of bread. First one I pick up, best before April 9th. I'm not trying to cause problems for the grocery store, and I understand that you got a lot of inventory. It's hard to, you know, manage that and audit that on a, you know, one-to-one basis so things like this don't slip through. On the other hand, I also just want to ask like a hypothetical question. You really expect anybody out there to eat a loaf of bread in a single day? I know, by the way, you can eat it after it's past the best before date. But here's the, and I think this is going to be like a lot of people are going to see echoes of themselves in what I'm about to say. If I'm making a sandwich, if I'm making toast, if I'm in advance of the best before day, I have no lack of confidence whatsoever. I get the bread, I give it a cursory glance, maybe pop it in the toaster, we're good to go. On the best before day, the expiry date, if you will, the past due date, I look at it, and I look very carefully, more carefully than I would in other circumstances, spots of mold or otherwise, you know, edible degradation. And if it looks good to go, I'm okay. If I'm starting to eat bread after the expiry date, that's where I am like, I'm getting out the magnifying glass. And I gotta be honest, it compromises the quality of the meal that you make from it. Not because it tastes worse necessarily, but because every, perhaps, suspicious taste, all of a sudden you're like, I just ate a big clump of mold. Even if you didn't, in your head, you're like, that's what's happening right now. I was more like, come on. I don't know, I don't want to be picking up and putting down a bunch of stuff in the grocery store right now, but I will pick up and put down a loaf of bread that goes bad in 24 hours. There is no way me and my wife are going to eat 12 slices of bread in 24 hours. You know, barring power outages, so our fridge, you know... Like, but I guess if your fridge didn't have power and your freezer didn't have power... Well, freezer not so much, because you would probably not want to just eat frozen food with no power, I guess. But, you know, the Hot Pockets are really crunchy today. But, I guess if the fridge didn't have power, you'd probably try to eat some of the leftovers and perishables out of the fridge as quickly as possible. Drink a couple of liters of juice or something. Okay. It's tight. We didn't necessarily have to take anything there, but I think it's okay to take a theme. And then I will admit, I think that we should use the sun just to get positioning here. The run is pretty good. I know I've said very good at times. It's on the border of those two emotions right now. It's really, like, on a traditional, like, tears times damage level, it's probably around average, even with Bookworm. You know, 5 rate of fire is great, 8 damage is, like, it's decent, don't get me wrong. I'm very happy we did do the Dark Judas route, otherwise we would be, I mean, roughly half DPS right now, which would be pretty terrible. But then, you know, keeping in mind all that, we also have Blue Candle, which is worth a lot for us. I hope you'll forgive the banality of the bread anecdote. Again, not leaving the house all that much. The little things mean more now. I've never asked to speak to somebody's manager, and this would not be the thing to do it. But I did kind of want to, you know, pull one of the employees aside and be like, hey, you and me, we're on the same page. You know, I'm hip, I'm cool, I'm with it. But at the same time, what's up with this bread? Is that like a corporate mandate? I know you don't want the optics of the bread being past due, which is what it's going to be like, you know, tomorrow or in a day or two. So, but you really think anyone's going to buy that bread without being tricked? I don't see it. I mean, if you couldn't trick me into buying that bread. You're not tricking anybody else. I've seen other people at the grocery store. I am way less vigilant about checking everything that I pick up. I know a lot of people, and I do this now because one time, you know, recently. Here, I'll tell you the exact story that it happened, okay? You ever have a friend who, like, doesn't do something because they've never faced the negatives of it? Or maybe you yourself have been in this boat? I'm sure I haven't, I just don't recall because, you know, we're blind to a lot of our own weaknesses, I suppose. But I had a friend who was like, I don't look both ways when I cross the street. I just look the way that the cars are supposed to be coming. Because what are the odds that a car would be coming the other way and won't stop? And I was like, literally, like, what you're saying right now doesn't make sense. The amount of time you save by not doing that is like 0. But he's never been hit by a car. So he's in his head, he's like, by the way, I'm not defending him. He's a good guy. This is just a brain dead opinion that he had 12 years ago. And even at the time, when I was kind of brain dead, I was like, that's dumb. Because if you're ever wrong, you're so hugely wrong that you're toasted. But anyway. Or like, you know, somebody who's like, I don't wash my hands because, you know, I don't get sick. Hopefully those people have been a lot quieter over the past couple of weeks. I understand why. It's a bad optics look. Regardless. What was I talking about? I've lost my train of thought. I went too many anecdotes deep, like Cobb in Inception. I was talking about the grocery store. I was talking about past due. Oh, I remember. So I was talking about checking food in the grocery store. And, I never used to open the egg carton to check and see if, if all the eggs were there and undamaged. And then, that's just, like, actually kind of bad, I think. One time, you know, my whole attitude forever had been, what are the odds that the egg's not gonna be in there, is gonna be damaged, blah, blah, blah. And then one time, Kate was like, can you go get eggs? And I brought home the eggs, and she's like, 2 of them in the carton are cracked. And I was like, ah, son of a... Who could have possibly predicted this? So now I check. But I some people in there with a magnifying glass, you know? I know I've had this exact bit before, but I want to bring it up again. I really feel like we need to do something. Not everybody respects best before dates as much as I do. I'm actually, I think by North American standards, I'm relatively cavalier about food safety in my home kitchen. You know, I grew up eating a lot of food cooked by my grandparents who were like, if there's any pink in beef, it's not done and you'll get sick and die. I'll even, you know, because Gordon Ramsay told me it was okay, I will cook like a pork chop to maybe a medium well, you know, maybe the slightest pale pink in the center. And it revolutionized my enjoyment of pork products, I'll admit, because they don't taste like shoe leather anymore. Not everybody's in the same boat there. However, I don't, I get a little paranoid sometimes about those best before dates. And what's very weird is being, you know, in the first half of April. By the time you're watching this, it's probably about halfway through. Godspeed, hope we're doing okay. And you pick up a perishable food item from your fridge, and it says BB, which is best before, MA09. And you go, oh my god. Is MA May or March? Like, I think MA is May. But, like, shouldn't MA be March? Because March comes first and also starts with MA. So shouldn't MY? Shouldn't May be MY? Oh, we should have just used credit card there. That was a bit of a whiff. I was trying to formulate my own punchline. I apologize on that one. So I'm like 90% sure that MA is May. But I'm also like, I get that you got like a printer. The printer is set to print, you know, 2 letters, and these are the standardized like ISO 9001 or whatever, like best before date symbols so that everybody knows what's happening with them. But I'm also like, May is 3 letters. You know, you really can't print 1 extra letter just to avoid the confusion. And this is something where I'm like, I don't think I've ever gotten any kind of foodborne illness as a result of anything like that. But I'm like, you know, with 35 million Canadians, somewhere in that vicinity at least, surely at least a couple of times a year somebody gets sick, and then they're like, why did I get sick? And then they think like, oh, that sour cream that I ate, maybe it went bad in March instead of May. And you might say, well, screw them. Yeah, but anytime any idiot does anything, it causes a whole cascade of public safety issues, right? You know, like one dude on YouTube uploads videos of him like bullying his own children or whatever. Now don't even have kids yet. Every video I've uploaded since then, which by the way, numbers in like the 5,000 or something like that, I have to click on a box that goes like, yeah, I'm not bullying my kids in this video. Meanwhile, we're still out here with ambiguous food safety. Come on now. That seems like one that's a genuine potential issue. Now, I'm not gonna, you know, I got too much on my plate right now, and I think so does the planet Earth. I don't really want to go, you know, to City Hall and try to labor for this, or, you know, lobby for this, I should say, but it's just the principle that matters. Everybody lost their dang minds? May is 3 letters. Some best before dates, they even put like APR. That way you know it's April. You couldn't put MAY? I don't know. I feel like I'm taking crazy pills. Speaking of which, you're gonna have to teach me about how your shots made it through Blue Candle there. Oh, it's lore because Blue Candle only starts to block shots a third of the... No, they just forgot. You think you could sneak that by me? What are you gonna tell me next? That the Earth is round? It's a ball? I don't think so. They could have you believing that the Earth is a sphere. They'll have you believe in anything, dude. They'll have you believe in. And I'm just to be clear, I like to make this distinction. I probably don't have to, but I like to. I'm being very facetious. We all know the Earth is cuboid, obviously. 6 faces on a cube. 666, the number of the beast. Bottoms up, and the devil laughs. Let's not get into conspiracy theory. It's a bad time for it. I have an uncle who's kind of a conspiracy theorist. Family's weird, you know? He's not an uncle by blood. I don't know why I felt the need to defend my own DNA. He's an uncle by marriage. He's been having a field day on Facebook lately. He really thinks he's got it all figured out. Which is amazing to me, because you would think that we should leave the disease stuff up to doctors. But, you know, my uncle who, gonna be honest, I don't even really know what I think he might have been like a paralegal or something like that before he retired. Look, should I have paid more attention at Thanksgivings? Sure. But that's, when you're a kid, you don't eat with the adults. You eat at the kids' table. You talk about other kids' stuff. You know, you talk about the new Mary-Kate and Ashley Olsen movie, It Takes Two, that just came out or whatever. I don't know. It was like 20 years ago. You would think that we would leave it up to doctors, but as an ex-paralegal, I think, he's really seemed to... He's got a lot of confidence that he's got it all figured out. And you notice that I did not say something there. What did I not say? I did not say he may be right. Because he is very wrong. He is quite malevolently incorrect, I would say. But anyway, we don't need to get in it. He's not close with the family. He's not close with my part of the family, at least. Dude, I gotta tell you, I think Sprinkler might slap here. This ended up being, I really thought it was gonna be a quite the powerful run. It ended up being maybe a little bit less powerful than I thought it would be, but very, very nice overall. Just a nice, like, markedly above average, relatively safe one that we can add to our collection here. Thanks for watching. I hope you guys have enjoyed it. If you did, click the like button. That's 47 wins in a row, baby. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you next time. See ya!